So when I was in 5th grade, my teacher suggested to my parents that I had a learning disability. And so I had to go through a bunch of tests and to prove that I was I didn't have a learning disability. And so the test came back that I was normal and that I was not struggling in any way. However, to me, I still felt like an academic failure since 5th grade. So I had a really hard time learning at that point, because if my teacher saw me as a failure, I did really bad in school. But once I got to 9th grade, I decided that I was going to set a goal for myself. And it was that I was going to be going to Clemson University. And I don't know what about it that made me just be so drawn to Clemson specifically, but what I knew is that if I could get in, I was not an academic failure. And I put all of my hopes and dreams into this one school. And so a lot of people would say that that is my personality trait, and that's a fair statement because I drive an orange car with an orange tiger paw on the back of it, and I don't shut up about Clemson ever. So it is associated with words like craze, compulsion, mania, addiction, and unfortunately fetish. And so an obsession is an idea or thought that continually preoccupies or intrudes on a person's mind. And I didn't really see my goal with Clemson as an obsession until about 2 weeks ago when I was talking to Mr. Luava. And it was really embarrassing to admit because you don't want to be associated with these words. However, where people see obsession, I personally see opportunity to be passionate and enthusiastic. There's two sides to everything. You have the good and the bad. And so when I blocked out the bad, I finally was able to focus on the good. And so I learned that this obsession was not anything negative, and in fact, it actually pushed me and motivated me to finally feel like I was worth something in the classroom. So this is the question I was asked myself every single night: what if I don't get in? And it absolutely haunted me for 4 years. I thought I was going to be a disappointment. Why am I not smart enough? I was never meant to be. I hate it here. I am not enough. And it all went back to 5th grade because I never thought that I would be able to get into a school that was decent. And I put a lot of stress on myself because of that for 4 years. However, I learned to change my mindset. And still with the same question, I looked at it as I'm not going to with that attitude. I'm working as hard as possible. It will pay off. What if it doesn't? Then it wasn't meant to be, but I'm still enough. And that became really important for me because I thought that if I didn't get into Clemson, I was never going to be anything but a failure. And so I finally accepted that if I don't get in, and if I didn't get in, it wasn't meant for me, and that I'm still enough, just I didn't get what I want, and that's okay. So I developed 2 different mindsets, the I want mindset over the I need mindset. And this is really important for when you're setting goals. If you have the I want mindset, it's the I want this goal to happen for me because I know I can do it. But the I need mindset becomes I need this goal to make me feel validated as a person. And when you have that mindset, you think that your entire worth is founded on this one goal. But the I want mindset allows you to understand that you don't need it to live, but you want it, and that's okay. And so when you try to extinguish out your goals and think that they are a bad side of you, so when you try to extinguish them, you shouldn't. You should try to manage them in a way that allows your goals and obsessions to work for you rather than over you. And when they're working for you, they're pushing you, motivating you to achieve what you want. And when they work over you, you feel locked down and that your entire reputation and everything you stand for relies on that one goal. And so a big part of goal setting is your serotonin and dopamine. And so when you look at yourself with the I want mindset, you boost your mood and it makes you feel like, yes, I can do this and this is what I want. And it then increases your dopamine pathway and it pushes you and allows you to be more motivated. And that's why your mindset's really everything. And same thing with your perspective. And when you have a better mindset about wanting to achieve your goal because you want to and not because you need to, you then allow yourself to actually be motivated for something that you want to do. However, if you have a really negative mindset, it does not boost your serotonin, so then it doesn't boost your dopamine, and you're never going to actually accomplish what you want. And so that's where the balance comes into play. You can't force feelings that were never meant to be felt in the first place. So if the goal is actually something you want to achieve, you have to be 100% in, not even 100%, 110%. You have to be obsessed a little bit with your goals, because that's when you truly invest your time into getting what you want. And so your frontal lobe is responsible for how you communicate, and that's why when you're talking about a goal, you can really see that it's meant to be, because, oh my gosh, sorry, hold on. Because that's where your communication will happen, and when you allow your dopamine to get into your frontal lobe, it allows you to communicate about your goals in a positive and healthy way rather than obsessive way, or an obsessively negative way. And so one quote by Audrey Hepburn, "Hard work is never so hard when it is done with love." I think that's really important when setting your goal, because when you're in the process of setting the goal, you have to ask yourself, am I happier with how I'm feeling right now versus how I think I'm going to feel at the end of the goal? If the answer is no, it's okay to step back, rearrange, and just figure it out, because your goals should never work over you. They should work for you and push you in a way that will actually make you feel like you did deserve it. So if I could go back to my freshman year self and tell myself that I was going to get into Clemson, I wouldn't, because the journey really did make me realize that because if I knew that I was going to get in, I wouldn't have tried as hard. But because I did try hard, I did end up getting what I wanted, and I now realize if I could go back to my 5th grade self, I would tell her, you're not an academic failure, you are enough. Because words really do hurt, and that haunted me for a very long time, but when I finally found something that I loved, I worked hard for it, and that happened to be Clemson. And so this wasn't just some crazy college acceptance obsession, it was truly my greatest love story, so thank you all for letting me share that with you.